Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and this is a little breakout from the full Honda Passport TrailSport review to put Honda's two soft rotors to the test. The Honda ADV 160 scooter and the 2026 Honda Passport TrailSport. So we've got the two vehicles together here next to each other out at our little off-road testing facility, and I've devised a little bit of a route. So we're going to take the Passport first, and we're going to set a benchmark time. It should be, I think, about 5 minutes or so of a mixture of crawling and dirt road running, and then we're going to come back and run the same thing with the ADV 160. Now we've got full reviews of both. You can check the link in the description to see those. But this should be, fairly close, I would think. I will admit I've been taking the ADV 160 around a little bit so far today, and I do think it's got a little bit of an advantage. It's more capable off-road than I thought. And I suspect the Passport is actually quite capable off-road in this new version as well. I just think it's probably a little bit slower speed from a crawling perspective. I bet you there are more difficult hills that the Passport would go up that the ADV 160 would really struggle without having just the right line and just the right rider. But alas, without any further ado, let's hop in. I think I'm going to do the start right here, right by this tree, and we're going to do it Le Mans style. So I'm going to start outside of the car, off the bike, hop in, and go. Hopefully no one thefts the ADV 160 while we're gone. Oh, and I'm also going to do it in my riding gear because I don't feel like changing twice. Now, it must be noted that inside the Passport, you've got air conditioning and cup holders, and can take 5 people, whereas the ADV 160 can only take 2 people. However, the ADV 160 costs about $5,000, whereas this one costs about $54,000 in the Elite trim. So there's that too. Here we are, stopwatch at the ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Now, mind you, this is still public access area, so I'm not going to be driving like an absolute lunatic. But we're gonna have a little energy going here. I mean, it's not showing our drive modes while our seatbelt warning is still up. Okay, get rid of that. I guess we just gotta wait for it to time out. I have it in sand mode right now. I feel like that's the best for our terrain right now, but we have quite a few different terrain modes in the Passport. And I have been really impressed with the suspension tuning on this so far. The TrailSport edition gets off-road shocks as well as the General Grabber all-terrain tires. And so far, it seems to be a pretty darn good package. Now, I have not off-roaded this yet, whereas I have off-roaded the ADV 160, so arguably that is a bit of an advantage. Steepest section right here. What modes do we have that might be better? Do we have a rock mode? Why isn't my seatbelt going away? Give me my drive modes. There we go. We got tow, trail, sand. Let's do trail for this section. This bit is actually pretty gnarly. We're gonna have to stay to the left. Ooh, we got a trail cam up though. That's nice. Extra underbody protection for the TrailSport model. Come on. Come on. Yeah. All right. Be careful. Oh, over these rocks. That wasn't a hit. That was just suspension extending fully. Independent full suspension on this Passport TrailSport. So if you really try to do intense rock crawling, that's going to limit your clearance. But man, I actually really like this camera being up. Glad to have that. Shows me where my tires are. We've got a pitch and roll on the screen in front of us. We also have an all-wheel drive torque distribution screen. That's a big rock. Are we going to hit it? No. Okay. This is actually faring better than I expected so far. Okay. locking them up. All-terrain tires doing their job out here in the sand. Approach angle, good. That camera comes up at about 11 miles per hour. I think that was about where the Frontier Pro 4X's camera disabled as well, so that must be a legal issue. Ooh, okay, all right, there we go. That was a hit. Hopefully everything's okay. What was that? Just the ground, I guess? Interesting. Might need to take it a little more careful here with the big boy. But I'm actually mostly just impressed with the comfort. If I had my kids and wife in here, they really wouldn't be getting jostled that badly. Another rock crawl section. You can mute the parking sensors right from the steering wheel. I like that. All right, sharp turn here. Good tight turning radius. One last climb. Yeah, all-wheel drive system really doing a great job distributing torque where it needs to go. This is the type of race I would do with Nathan if I still lived back in Michigan, but now I have to do it on my own. Okay, getting out to the road. I think this is where we're going to be able to make up a little bit of time with the Honda. With the big Honda, I should say. Let's switch to sport drive mode for this section. We do have paddle shifters, so really if I didn't want to wait for the 10-speed to downshift, I could be manually holding gear for these hills. I am actually thoroughly impressed with the suspension tuning on this Honda. Lateral grip is really good too. I mean, this is fairly slippery stuff. Watch out, bird. If you were doing something like taking this out to the desert, you'd actually be able to get down some of those desert trails pretty quick. Right out of the box. And clock's gonna stop once I'm parked and out of the vehicle. It's off, the door is closed. Right here. $7.15. Whew, okay, a little bit longer than I expected, but that was fun. That was really cool. I guess I just didn't expect it to do well, like actually perform well. I thought it was just going to be like, just barely scraping through. That was cool. Okay, little Honda, you're up next. Okay, 7:15, our time to beat with the ADV 160. Stand next to it again, restart. 3, 2, 1, go. We do have proxy key, so we can simply turn it on. Right? Oh, one more. There we go. And we got to get our gloves on. I see that as the equivalent of seatbelt. Come on. These Alpine Stars gloves, a little tight, a little sweaty. Losing valuable time. Okay. And one extra thing we need to do is disable our traction control, which we do by holding that, and we're good to go. Whew. Obviously a little bit more at stake from a safety perspective on two wheels, because if I toss it a little too aggressively through any of these corners and wash out, not going to be a good situation. So you got to kind of balance that. But the reason I decided to pit these two together is, oh my gosh, getting up off the banking already. Yeah, get back into two-wheel mode. These are both kind of soft rotors, as I said at the beginning. They're vehicles that were not intended to be off-road vehicles, but were upfitted, if you will, from the factory to be more capable. Here we go. This is going to be the biggest challenge for the 160. Pick a good line through here. Oh, already kind of falling off. A little bit of spin. Fortunately, we got a low seat height. CVT transmission. Hand controls for the brakes. Wow, okay, that motored up surprisingly well. Ugh. Not going to check the clock, but you all will see it running up here. Although I do want to make sure it is going. Yep, okay, all right. Ground clearance is also a factor for the ADV 160. Kind of long wheelbase and not a ton of height. It's a little bit higher than your standard Forza 160. Tires are a little bit more aggressive too. And the suspension, a little bit more impressive. Showa shocks in the rear, remote reservoirs. And I have been impressed running around with it so far today at how it takes up the bumps. But it is a scooter, so it's not like I can really stand on it. Front ABS, non-defeatable, so gotta be careful about that as well. Rock section. Deep sand. Oh yeah, I think we got it. I think the 160's got it. As long as I can keep it upright on the road section, I think we'll be in good shape. Oh. This thing's surprisingly fun. It really is. All right, shield down. Woo! A little bit of air time. Let's go. Oh, that was rough. That was... Still feel the potholes on this one. One-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive. Let's go. gonna have to slow down a little bit more than the car for these downhill, off camber dirt turns. I mean, it's only a scooter, for gosh sakes. But at least since I do have that front wheel ABS, if I squeeze a little too hard, theoretically, it shouldn't lock it up. But I do have that front wheel ABS, so at least if I squeeze the front brake a little too hard, theoretically, it shouldn't dump it right away. Ooh, little squirrely, little squirrely. Okay, through the last section, full power, up onto the hills. Lock it up, kill it, kickstand off, and we're looking at, woo, okay, 628. Pretty hearty win for the little guy. Okay, so that was kind of silly and fun, but you know, it's cool to experience two of Honda's fun machines, if you will. Nice. Oh, okay, so at the end of the day, what does this prove? What it shows is that, yes, just because neither of these vehicles are primarily intended to be doing what we just did, they're a lot more capable and, dare I say, a lot more comfortable than you might expect. And if you're somebody who primarily spends your days doing kid drop-off duty or commuting to work or going to class or anything that is just primarily on road, these two vehicles are great for that. This Honda gets decent fuel economy. It's very well equipped inside, heated ventilated seats, child sunshades in the rear, great safety protection. I mean, it's a good, competent on-road family vehicle. And then the ADV 160 has storage underneath, storage up front, proxy key, gets over 100 miles per gallon in mixed riding situations. So these are excellent on road. But if you do want to go have some adventure, if you do want to take them to a campsite, if you do want to go explore some off-road trails, you can do it confidently and comfortably with vehicles that maybe some of the reviews online will go, oh, well, you got to have a Toyota Land Cruiser or 4Runner in order to do the trails you want to do, and you got to spend $80,000 or $90,000, or oh, you got to have a CRF 300L in order to go ride trail and explore and do adventures. No, that's not true. You can save some money. You can prioritize on-road capability and comfort while still getting pretty good prowess off-road as well. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on either of these, check their full reviews. This was just a fun little experimental breakout I wanted to do. Thanks to Honda for making fun products, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive and ride on.